I told my mom, and I was like, oh, close to tears, and Mom said, don't worry about it.
Do you remember Deniece Williams, the singer who became famous with hits like Let's Hear It for the Boy? She is now 73 years old, but do you know how sad she lives today? What has happened to her since her big success? Many people are wondering why her life now is so different. Is it true that things have not turned out the way we expected? Let's take a closer look.
And I started in the church choir when I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
Deniece Williams, born Deniece Chandler on June 3, 1950, in Gary, Indiana, had big dreams from a young age. Growing up in Gary, she knew she wanted to do something special with her life. Deniece started singing when she was just 3 years old. One day, her aunt heard her singing on the porch and realized she had a talent. Deniece sang a song called There's a Man Waiting Way Beyond the Clouds at church, and that's when she joined the children's choir. This was the start of her love for music.
And I would, my mom would be in the shower, and she'd be singing, and I would try to sing along with her. And then she'd do this little skippy thing. And I say, and so most of what you hear.
Deniece had a happy childhood. She had lots of friends and enjoyed going to school. Her best friend was someone she spent a lot of time with, and she also loved spending time with her grandmother. Her grandmother raised her in a religious home, so church was a big part of Deniece's life. Every Sunday, she went to church and also joined choir practices during the week.
And I started in the church choir when I was 3 years old.
After high school, Deniece went to Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland. She wanted to be a nurse and work as an anesthetist. But after a year and a half, Deniece decided to leave college. She later said, "You have to be a good student to be in college, and I wasn't." Like many people, Deniece found that college wasn't the right fit for her. But that didn't stop her. She followed her passion for music, and it led her on a new and exciting journey. Deniece Williams' music career began in the late 1960s, a time when she was still a college student. She had a part-time job singing at a club called Casino Royale, which she absolutely loved. Singing made her happy, and it was a lot of fun. This was the beginning of her dream to make it in the music world. But she also needed to pay the bills, so Deniece worked at a telephone company and as a ward clerk at Chicago Mercy Hospital. It wasn't easy to balance working full-time and singing, but Deniece was determined to make it in music. She knew that this was the life she wanted. Deniece's journey into the music world took a big turn thanks to her cousin John. John lived in Detroit, and every summer he would come visit her. John loved talking about his experiences with famous music stars. Once he even claimed to know Stevie Wonder, which made Deniece laugh. She thought he was just making things up. But soon John's connection to Stevie Wonder would change Deniece's life forever. After a while, John helped Deniece get an audition to sing with Stevie Wonder. Deniece wasn't sure about trying out, but her cousin encouraged her to go for it. To her surprise, Deniece was chosen as one of 3 people to sing background vocals for Stevie. Being able to work with Stevie Wonder was a dream come true for Deniece. She admired Stevie's music and was so excited to travel and perform with him. During this time, Deniece also discovered something new about herself. She realized that her love of poetry could turn into songs. She started mixing her poems with music, creating beautiful songs. Stevie Wonder became a mentor to her, and she spent 3.5 years working alongside him. Deniece learned so much from Stevie during this time, and it shaped her musical career. Deniece's voice can be heard on some of Stevie Wonder's most famous albums, including Talking Book, Fulfillingness' First Finale, and Songs in the Key of Life. She also worked on albums by other great artists like Sarita Wright's Stevie Wonder Presents, Sarita, Minnie Riperton's Perfect Angel, and Roberta Flack's albums Feel Like Making Love and Blue Lights in the Basement. After leaving Stevie Wonder, Deniece began working with another legendary artist, Roberta Flack. Deniece loved working with Roberta because they had different musical styles. But both were amazing in their own ways. Every day, Roberta would ask Deniece, "What are you going to do today?" Deniece would always answer, "I don't know, but it's going to be good." This positive attitude helped Deniece keep moving forward in her career. Deniece also looked up to Johnny Mathis, another famous artist she admired since she was a child. She first sang with Johnny when she was about 10 years old. She even joked with him, telling him that she had been practicing to sing with him for years. Singing with her childhood idols was a special moment in Deniece's life, and it showed just how far she had come in her career. One of Deniece's biggest hits was a duet with Johnny Mathis called Too Much, Too Little, Too Late. The song was a huge success, reaching #1 on several music charts, including the Billboard Hot 100. In 1978, Deniece and Johnny released a duet album called That's What Friends Are For, which was also very successful. Critics praised the album, and it gave Johnny's career a boost in both pop and R&B music. The album was certified gold in the US and reached #14 on the Billboard Top Soul Albums chart. Another important moment in Deniece's career came when she had the chance to sing with Minnie Riperton. When Deniece was just 16 years old, a neighbor brought her an album and said, "You sound like this girl." The singer was Minnie Riperton, and Deniece loved her music. She would sing along with Minnie's songs at home. Later on, Deniece got the opportunity to work with Minnie on her album, Perfect Angel, as a background singer. This was a huge deal for Deniece because she had admired Minnie's music for so long.
First of all, BBC calls you one of the greatest soul singers of all time.
Wow. It's pretty great.
Deniece always dreamed of singing with Earth, Wind and Fire, a group she loved when she was growing up. She had always enjoyed their song, Keep Your Head to the Sky, and many others. So when she finally got the chance to work with them, it was like a dream come true. Deniece got the opportunity to join Maurice White's music production label, which worked with Earth, Wind and Fire. Maurice White and his partner, Charles Stepney, helped Deniece create her very first solo album. This album was called This Is Niece, and it was released in 1976. The album became very popular, reaching #3 on the R&B chart and #33 on the Billboard 200 chart. It even sold a lot of copies and was certified gold in the United States. One of the most famous songs from the album was Free. This song did very well, reaching #1 on the UK singles chart. It also did well on other important music charts like the Billboard Hot R&B songs and the Hot 100. Another song from the album, That's What Friends Are For, also became a hit, reaching #8 on the UK chart.
That's what friends are for.
Sadly, right before Deniece's album came out, Charles Stepney passed away. But Maurice White didn't let that stop the music. He took over and produced Deniece's next album, Songbird, which came out in 1977. Songbird was another success. It reached #23 on the Billboard Top Soul Albums chart, and music critics loved it. They praised Deniece for showing off her amazing voice, which had a 4-octave range. John Rockwell from the New York Times even said it was a most appealing album because of its variety and Deniece's beautiful singing. One of the standout songs from Songbird was Baby, Baby, My Love's All For You. This song also became popular, reaching #13 on the Billboard Hot Soul Songs chart. Another well-known song that Deniece sang was a cover of You're All I Need to Get By, originally sung by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. Deniece's version became a hit too. It reached #5 on the Canadian Adult Contemporary Songs chart, #10 on the US Billboard Hot Soul Singles chart, and #16 on the Billboard Adult Contemporary chart.
Spiritual. I come from a Pentecostal background. My grandfather had a little storefront church. In fact, it is so cute because my grandfather's church probably never had over 25 members in his church.
Deniece's journey as a singer was not easy, especially when it came to her church. She grew up in a strict Pentecostal church called the Church of God in Christ. This church had very strong beliefs about music. They believed that popular music was the devil's music. This made things tough for Deniece when she started her singing career. When Deniece began recording songs, her church didn't like it. They felt that by singing those songs, she was going against their teachings. The church leaders told her she could no longer sing in the church choir or be a part of church activities unless she stopped making those kinds of songs. This was very hard for Deniece because she had been part of the church for 17 years. She grew up singing in the choir and going to church every Sunday. Losing her place in the choir felt like losing a part of herself. Even though the church treated her this way, there was one person who showed Deniece kindness. A church mother who was wise and kind told Deniece that her songs were not wrong. She said that Deniece's songs were about love, not about anything bad. This support helped Deniece through such a difficult time. It reminded her that not everyone in the church judged her harshly.
I told my mom, and I was like, oh, close to tears, and Mom said, don't worry about it.
Even though Deniece had support from this church mother, she still felt the weight of being condemned by the church. The church preached a message of fear, not love. Over time, Deniece began to understand God's love. She learned that God's message is not just about rules, but also about love and forgiveness. She realized that God's love is about accepting people, not just telling them what they should or shouldn't do. Looking back, Deniece understands that her church was trying to protect her. They were worried about her, especially when she started working with famous musicians like Stevie Wonder. They didn't know if she would be safe in the music world. Their fear came from not fully understanding God's true message, which is all about love and grace. Deniece believes her church didn't mean to hurt her. They thought they were helping her, but they focused too much on what she should avoid instead of what she could do. They didn't see that God had given her a gift for music, and she was meant to share that gift with the world. Despite the tough times, Deniece kept moving forward with her music and learned to follow her heart. One of her most memorable songs is Silly, which came from a very personal place. Deniece was going through a rough time. She was in a relationship that wasn't working out, and it broke her heart. One night around 3 a.m., she was crying and feeling all kinds of emotions. In the middle of this, the idea for Silly came to her. The word silly of me kept popping into her head, and she knew she had to write a song about it. Even though it was late, she called her co-writer and said, "Turn on the recorder. I need to get this down before I forget it." At first, Deniece wasn't sure if the song would ever be part of a project, but she felt like she had to get it out of her system. So she and her co-writer worked on it, and Silly was born out of her experience of loving someone who wasn't treating her right. The song became a big hit, reaching number 11 on the Billboard Hot Soul Songs chart, and is still loved by many people today. Deniece has also had success with other songs, like the upbeat hit, Let's Hear It for the Boy. But getting that song recorded was a bit of a challenge. She was in the studio with legendary producer George Duke, and they got a call about a song for a movie soundtrack. Deniece wanted to do it because it was a fun, up-tempo song, but George wasn't interested. He didn't think it fit her style since she was known for ballads. Deniece didn't give up. She knew the song would be a hit, so she went to George's wife, Corinne, for help. She told Corinne, "George won't do this song with me, but I know it's going to be a hit." Corinne worked her magic, and a week later, Deniece and George were in the studio recording Let's Hear It for the Boy. The song became a massive hit, selling millions of copies and cementing Deniece's place in pop music history. The title track became a massive hit, reaching number 1 on the several charts, including the Billboard Hot 100. This song was also part of the movie Footloose, making it even more popular. Even though George still jokes that he doesn't like the song, Deniece has no regrets. She often tells people, "If you don't like it, send me your producer check." The success of Let's Hear It for the Boy brought her a lot of joy, and she's proud of it. Deniece released her album called Deniece. This album was a big success, hitting number 5 on the Top Soul Albums chart and number 20 on the Billboard 200. Robert Christgau from The Village Voice praised Deniece for her clear voice and range, noting how her collaboration with Tom Bell helped her music stand out. The album's charm lay in its romantic lyrics and the emotional delivery Deniece provided. One of her notable singles from this time was a cover of It's Gonna Take a Miracle.
Now that you set me free, it's gonna take a miracle.
This song topped the Billboard Hot Soul Songs chart and reached number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. Deniece released her 7th studio album called I'm So Proud. It reached number 10 on the Billboard Top R&B Albums chart. Connie Johnson from the Los Angeles Times described it as fresh and of high quality. This album was even nominated for a Grammy. Deniece has also had a full personal life with ups and downs, just like anyone else. Deniece has been married 3 times and is a mother to 4 sons. Her first marriage was to her middle school sweetheart, Kendrick Williams. They got married in 1971 when she was quite young, and they were together for 4 years. During their marriage, they had 2 sons, Kendrick Jr., who was born in 1972, and Kevin, born in 1973. Even after they divorced in 1975, Deniece kept the last name Williams and used it professionally throughout her career. After her first marriage ended, Deniece moved to California to pursue her music career, and it worked out well for her. She became very successful with her smooth and beautiful voice, making her a popular artist in the 1970s and 1980s. But while her career was rising, her personal life was still complicated.
How difficult was it for you to focus on your music and still have your heart?
In May 1981, Deniece married again. This time, she tied the knot with an actor and minister named Christopher Joy. Their marriage, however, didn't last long. They separated in August 1982, just over a year after getting married, and divorced soon after. Even though it was a short-lived marriage, Deniece kept moving forward, balancing her music career and personal life. Deniece's third marriage came a few years later, in 1986, when she married a man named Brad Westring. During this marriage, Deniece and Brad had 2 more sons together. Their first son, Forrest, was born in 1988, and their second son, Logan, came into the world not long after. Sadly, Deniece and Brad's marriage ended in 1993, but she continued to raise her 4 sons while focusing on her music and faith. Throughout her life, Deniece Williams has had to juggle the challenges of being a mother, wife, and successful musician. She has talked about how her faith in God has helped her through tough times. Her strong belief in her faith has always been a big part of her life, and she often sings about her love for God in her music.
And what I've got is a fire inside my soul, spreading like the wind to the ones who need to know God loves them.
Over the years, she has been nominated for Grammy Awards 13 times and has won 4 times. One of the most special moments for her was when she performed her classic song, Silly, at the BET Awards with singer Monica. Monica had recorded her own version of Silly with help from producer Missy Elliott. When Deniece first heard Monica's version, she was so excited. She loved how Monica and Missy had added their own twist to her song. At the BET Awards, Monica performed her version, and then Deniece joined her to sing the original. For Deniece, it was a wonderful experience to perform her song alongside a new generation of talent. Throughout her career, Deniece has tried many different styles of music, including gospel, pop, R&B, and jazz. She mixed all of these genres to create a sound that's uniquely hers. Even though she took a break from music for 10 years, Deniece returned to the studio in a way that she calls a God thing. In an interview, Deniece shared a story about how she ended up back in the studio. She was in Los Angeles with her son Kevin, who had a meeting with a music producer named Neil Gattos. Deniece wasn't expecting anything special that day, so she just sat quietly while her son and Neil talked. But then Neil came over to her and said, "Miss Williams, I love your music and voice." He told her he had some tracks he wanted her to hear. At first, Deniece didn't feel excited about the music, but when the second track played, something clicked for her. A thought popped into her head. When you love somebody, life is like a party, and you dance. Neil loved that idea, and they started working together on the song. Deniece gave him some lyrics, and he created a demo. Deniece didn't think much about it after that, but when she played the song for some friends and their kids a month later, she was surprised to see the kids dancing and singing along. They loved it, which made Deniece realize that the song had something special. She called Neil to tell him about the kids' reaction, and that's when everything started moving fast. Neil had connections in the music industry, and soon they were planning to release the song. Now Deniece is working on a new project called Gemini. This project will mix jazz, pop, R&B, and gospel music, and Deniece says it will show fans the full view of who she is as an artist.
First of all, BBC calls you one of the greatest soul singers of all time.
Wow. It's pretty great.
It is.
Even though Deniece has faced many challenges in life, she feels very blessed. She knows people who aren't here anymore, and that makes her grateful for what she has. When she feels down, Deniece reminds herself of her blessings, like her health, her home, food, and a car. She believes that focusing on the good things in life helps keep away feelings of sadness. She says, "There's always someone who has it worse than you," and that helps her stay grounded. Deniece has a favorite verse that helps her stay positive. "This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it." She believes it's important to choose to be thankful, even when things aren't perfect. Deniece trusts that everything that happens in her life is part of God's plan, and if she stays positive, good things will come. In June 2021, Deniece was honored as one of the first people to be inducted into the Women's Songwriters Hall of Fame. Then, in May 2023, she was given the keys to the city of Kingston, Jamaica. These honors show just how much Deniece's music and impact mean to people. Deniece's story is one of hope, faith, and resilience. After taking a break from the spotlight, she's back doing what she loves, making music and inspiring others.